More and more people are quitting their jobs and moving back in with their parents to play video games. But in my opinion, the amount of people quitting their jobs are still too low. A lot of people, when they quit their jobs and they embrace this sort of true neat lifestyle, are confused at first, since this is a completely new lifestyle for them. And for those people, I would say, don't be afraid. And don't be afraid of change. I would encourage these people to actually embrace this neat lifestyle, and I would direct them to subreddits like anti-work and things like that. So you have a true sense of community, and you will never be alone. When you do become a neat, usually things like gaming go hand in hand. They don't have to, but I would say that there is a strong positive correlation there. So this video, I mean, you can look at the title, but it is mainly for these people who are confused, they're lost, they just got fired, and I want to open up a completely new lifestyle for them. So I'm going to give you some tips to really get started and to jumpstart your true neat gamer lifestyle. So without further ado, let's begin. So tip number one, probably the most important tip on this list: quit your job. Many of you out there are still actually have jobs, and I think this is a huge mistake. When you have jobs, you are sacrificing, for most people anyway, at least 8 hours a day. And if you want to be a true neat gamer like I am, you have to make sacrifices. You have to look at what is important, and you have to just evaluate what you want out of life. So a lot of people at this point are going to be telling me, you know, hey, money doesn't grow on trees. I need to earn money to make a living. And what I usually say to them is that time doesn't grow on trees either. Would you rather be enjoying your time, or would you rather be working for someone that treats you like the dirt on their shoe? If you need to pay bills and taxes, that's what the government's for. And for people who are still living with their parents, I mean, hey, you are a step ahead of the game, man. For those of you who are still not convinced, I'm going to make a comparison here, and I think a lot of you will understand where I'm coming from here. So would you rather flip burgers at McDonald's for 8 hours, or would you rather be slaying dragons in games like Skyrim, Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft, and the list goes on, guys? Like, I think really it is just a no-brainer. Maybe you actually prefer flipping burgers over video games, and for people like you, maybe this video really is not suited for you, and I would just exit the video now. For people who are still remaining and are not stupid like them, this is easily the best advice I can give for anyone out there. You are just sacrificing way too much time for people that you don't care about, and so why care about people that you don't care about when you can care about video games instead? I would recommend, if you are still not sure about what I'm saying here, then I would really recommend thinking it over. Just don't be stupid, just become a gamer neat, and life will be much better for you. I am telling you, it has really changed my life for the better, and I know it has really affected a lot of others as well. So my advice really here, just to summarize, just give up. I would recommend quitting your job and maybe getting into some sort of long-form game that you can sink thousands of hours into that you will really enjoy. And I know thousands of hours is really low, but you have to start somewhere. So my second tip is to avoid responsibility. And this comes directly after the first tip. So to sort of preface this section, I'm going to give you a in real life example here. So let's just say you have other relatives that still keep in touch with you, and let's just say it's Christmas. And normally what normies will do here is that they will buy presents for other people. Now maybe it is in your first instinct to then, I don't know, like go to Walmart or Best Buy and buy presents for these people, but I would then counter that with saying, well, you could be spending that money on video games instead. So I know a lot of you out there, really it's just a formality that you buy presents for your friends and family, but I mean, is it more important than, say, grinding out I don't know, like tombstones in Final Fantasy, or playing competitive League of Legends to improve your rank? Like, your rank in League of Legends is forever. Doing things for other people is just temporary. Basically, guys, what I'm saying here is that your achievements in video games is really more fulfilling and more important than things that are temporary, like maybe hanging out with friends or family, and it's just helping others in general. Also, another thing I see a lot is that people who go to college or they are still in high school and they actually care about what they are learning. And I would really sort of go against this. In grades 1 through 12, it is actually mandatory. I guess unless you are homeschooled really to go there, so there really isn't much you can do about it. I would recommend, if you are in this situation, to do the least amount of work possible while still passing. Because if you fail a grade, obviously you have to waste more time in school. Now, after grade 12, I would recommend not going to college, and the reason why I would not recommend going to college is what are you going to learn in college that you would not be able to learn by playing video games? I mean, really, you can learn a lot of things by playing video games. After playing a game like, let's say, Kerbal Space Program, I now know more than probably most people who have degrees in aerospace engineering, for example. And I mean, really, the sky's the limit here. You can learn about economics by scamming people in games like RuneScape, and you can learn Russian in Counter-Strike as well. And there are plenty of other examples out there, guys. I would also recommend, if you're interested in relationships, do not be interested in relationships. And I mean, there are plenty of resources out there if you're interested in not engaging in relationships. I know there are subreddits out there, like Incel, I think is one of them. And I mean, there must be way more subreddits out there. So this isn't really sort of applicable to me, but it may be applicable to you. So that's why I am sort of mentioning it here, guys. Step number 3 is become more efficient. So this tip is for the people out there who have really truly embraced the Neet gamer lifestyle. So now maybe we need to sort of go further here. So I'm going to give you another in real life real example here. So let's say you need to grind 12 hours a day, and realistically more than that in a game like World of Warcraft. You need to get a certain title or achievement, and I mean, it could be any game really. So now we need to start thinking about our efficiency here. So you need to start looking at what you are doing in the span of the day. So I have developed a rigorous sort of scientific theory here, and what it is basically the following. If you are not playing video games, it is basically a complete waste of time. So things like getting a shower, like, well, why would you get a shower when you could be playing a video game? Like, why would you need to go to a restaurant and have a meal there when you could just go to a fast food place and get the food much faster and much more cheaper than you would have more money to spend on video games? Why are you spending so much time getting dressed, for example, instead of maybe skipping that step and doing all of your work without so much of that needless hassle? Like, why would you wake up at a reasonable time of day when you could skip that step as well and stay up for much longer and increase your video game output? There are so many different ways that you can really sort of increase your efficiency here, and really it could be its own guide in and of itself. But for the sake of brevity here, these are just a few examples. I have noticed that people who tend to go outside a lot as well, like maybe they like gardening or cutting their lawn, they don't really make very good needs. So I would recommend here just staying indoors, getting everything you need. Start to minimize going to the bathroom here. I usually have like a Tim Hortons cup that I use for situations like that, but you could use anything you want. So like you can really get sort of creative with that step as well. And so there's tons of different things you can do. So let's just say, for example, here, if you have any sort of problems with the house, like maybe there is mold growing somewhere, I would recommend just ignoring that as well. It doesn't really affect you, and I would really say that is not much of a problem. I know a lot of people really like keeping their homes in order, but I really think it is just not efficient at all. If you need to clean up your room, that is valuable time that you are wasting. So just think about not thinking about cleaning up after yourself. I think that is also really important here. And there's much more that I can talk about with this step. This could be its own guide, but for the sake of brevity, I'm just going to stop talking about that, and I'll move on to these next step here. So tip number 4. This is the final tip. This is what rounds out a well-rounded sort of neat lifestyle. And tip number 4 is start developing an ego. So now at this point of your life, you have truly sort of embraced everything fully. You are now fully efficient in everything that you're doing with your life. Now, what usually tends to happen here is that normies will start to notice what you're up to. They will say things like, "Wow, what a loser! What a waste of space," etc., etc. You get the drill. What you need to realize is that your life is so much better now than it was before. You cannot let yourself be shamed, humiliated, and disgraced by these filthy normies. Please, please, I would recommend at this point of your life, start developing your ego. I would recommend shouting, yelling, and otherwise, if it is at all possible, just start ignoring all of the normies in your life. You should be proud of who you are. You should embrace all of the possibilities of your life, and how with embracing true neetsdom and the true gamer lifestyle, how many doors have now opened up in your life. You can do everything imaginable in video games, but what can you do at McDonald's? Flip burgers is what you can do at McDonald's. In reality, you should be laughing at the people who have these jobs in the first place, not the other way around. Start embracing who you truly are and be proud of who you are. You are a neet, first and foremost. Do not let anyone take that away from you. Thank you for listening.